Hello, everyone, and welcome to OurVentura TV. I'm Sandra Siepak. On today's show, we're welcoming Miranda Nobriga. She is the Public Information Officer for the Clerk Recorder Register of Voters Office here in Ventura County. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Right. We'd like to talk today about the upcoming election and the ballots going out for the election. And we're going to cover a few items of interest for many of our Ventura County residents about the safety of the ballots and how the ballots are counted and how everyone should be out there voting. So we're going to cover all that today. Thank you so much. Good. Let's start off with you sharing with us a little bit more about how the safety precautions are being considered for the election process now with COVID-19.
Okay. Well, the November 3rd election will be very different from the March primary, and that is because the governor declared the November 3rd election to be an all vote by mail election. So what that means is every eligible voter in the state of California will receive a vote by mail ballot. They do not have to take any action. They will automatically receive that ballot. And the purpose of that is to let voters have the convenience of voting from home and the safeties to avoid the crowds that they would find at a traditional polling place.
And that is something we do want to encourage people to stay safe, vote at home, take care of your ballot that way, rather than going into a location physically. You now have that opportunity with the mail-in ballots.
Correct. There will also be in-person voting locations, but they will not be the number that we've had in previous elections. So for example, in March, we had 389 traditional polling places where voters were assigned to a specific location. Now there will be 48 in-person voting locations. However, voters are not tied to a specific location. They can vote their home ballot at any of the locations. So if they work and live in two different cities, they can go to whatever location is convenient for them.
That's great to hear. That's so convenient for so many people.
Yeah. They'll also be open for 4 days. So instead of just election day beginning October 31st, they can vote at one of these locations.
And what will be done as far as the protocol for the ballots being mailed or dropped at some of the ballot boxes that are distributed throughout Ventura County?
So voters have several options to return their ballots. One is they can mail it back, no postage required. Not everybody not everyone likes to use the post office to return their ballot, and they want to give it directly to us, the elections division. Okay. So we have 33 ballot drop box locations located throughout the county. Some are drive up, some are 24/7. Others are located inside businesses and available during the business hours. The ballots are picked up by teams of 2 elections division staff daily and brought back to the elections division. Voters can also track their ballot so they can find out when it's been mailed and when it's received and processed by our office.
Very good. Now, if somebody is still not registered, what is the timeline for registering and making sure they have a ballot in place within enough time?
Okay, so the deadline to register to vote is October 19th. Okay. Technically, you can continue to register October 20th through Election Day, but it has to be done in person. Okay. So it's very easy to do it online. You can register in one of 10 languages at registertovote.ca.gov, and we encourage everyone to do that by the October 19th deadline.
Very good. Now, we are encouraging everyone to stay safe and vote at home, of course, as we are mentioning. So this is making the process a little bit easier. What if you don't receive a ballot? Now what happens? Yeah, so the ballots are being mailed in early October. And we're telling people generally, if you don't receive your ballot by the middle of the month, to contact us, and we can arrange to send an additional, our second vote by mail ballot. The last date to request a vote by mail ballot be mailed is October 27th. Okay. That is 1 week prior to the election, so I would not advise voters to wait that long. The sooner they contact us, the better. Okay. What if someone does get their ballot, they have now made a mistake on the ballot that they want to change their mind? What happens in that situation?
A lot of voters think that they need an entirely new ballot and they would
Right.
contact our office to request that second ballot.
Okay.
But that's not always the case. If it's a simple error and you changed your mind on a candidate, for example, all you have to do is put an X over the circle of the candidate you do not want
Okay.
and correctly mark the candidate that you do want and initial. And our election staff, teams of two, they review each ballot that has an error like that, and they do determine voter intent. And the
Okay.
voter's original ballot is filed with that new ballot.
Very good. Now, when the voting locations that you're talking about will be open, what is some of the information for that? When will they begin to open? What are the hours? And how can people find out more information about an in-person location should they want to go there?
So the county voter information guides are being mailed late September, and the details of the locations will be included there. However,
Right.
for the most up-to-date information, I recommend voters go to VenturaVote.org, and we have a list of all of the locations for the in-person locations as well as the Dropbox locations. Dropboxes are available beginning October 6th. In-person voting locations are open at 10 a.m. on Saturday, October 31st. However, if someone is very excited and they want to vote as early as they possibly can in person, they can go to the elections division located at the Ventura County Government Center on Monday, October 5th.
Well, that's great to hear. That's very good
Yeah.
information because you are going to have a lot of people that do want to make sure that their ballot is counted and they do have enough time. As you mentioned, we don't want to have people doing this at the last minute.
Right.
What other information can you provide to people who will be voting for this upcoming election?
I would recommend that they vote early.
Okay.
The sooner that we have their ballot, the faster we can process it and include it in the results. So on election night, be sure to follow us on our Twitter and Facebook accounts or check our website because shortly after 8 will be the initial results, and that will be all the vote by mail ballots we have processed till that date. If you were to drop off your vote by mail ballot at one of the 48 locations on election day, your
Okay.
ballot won't be counted until a later date.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Could you mention the website one more time for folks who would like
Absolutely.
to get additional information and maybe they could become more acquainted with what your office does do? And if they do need some questions answered, that would be the place to go to.
Yes, that website is VenturaVote.org.
Very good. Well, I gotta thank you so very much for so much good information for viewers who are interested in the voting election process coming up November 3rd. We want to make sure that, as we mentioned, we encourage people to get out and vote, and hopefully you can do it in the safety of your own home. And if you do choose to go in person, there is a lot of information out there on the website. Thank you so very much, Miranda Nobriga from the election office here with the Clerk Recorder's Office in Ventura County. Thank you so very much for joining us and sharing on today's show.
Thanks so much for having me. Take care.
Very good. And thank all of you for joining us on Our Ventura TV. I'm Sandra Siepak. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye, everyone.